Monte's World Podcast, my celebrities and heroes. I look at these people as celebrities and the things that they do, and I also look at these people as heroes for what they've been through and what they've still been able to accomplish, ladies and gentlemen. Monte's World Podcast, my celebrities and heroes.
See about it. I'm like, man, what are you talking about, man? I'm like, I'm working, and you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not, we didn't have kids or nothing yet, but I'm like, man, I'm just like, I ain't even really trying to do all that. He was like, I'm telling you, man, this ain't just like a regular league. It's like they paying folks to play or whatever. And so now, it done piqued my interest.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so what we talking about here? And he was like, telling you, man, they got this little thing going on, man, and you better than most of these cats, even though you ain't even been playing that much. Like, you better than a lot of these cats now, and all of this stuff. So he like, hyping me up on it. I'm like, he was like, look, we got this meeting thing or whatever, you should just come and whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll come and see what's up. So we got this meeting, and it's at Twan's house.
Yes, salute to Twan.
And shout out
to Twan.
And so we over there, and this dude Mike come in, and I'm looking like, this can't be that same dude from back when I was younger. That he coming in, you know what I'm saying, with the leather coat on, with the fur hood.
All that, bro.
You know what I'm saying? With this other short, dark-skinned cat with him or whatever. And I'm like,
his partner. Yeah, his partner.
I don't know who this no-name gangster is. And so he come in and he, just talking this talk, and, and we're going to do it like this and that and this and that. And, and I'm just sitting here looking like, am I missing something here? Like, so anyway, I'm like, okay. So then they start having these like, we gonna get these leagues together. We getting this league together, and he like, since he from there and he know the best players is here and all of this stuff, he want to get multiple teams if possible from here to represent the league, and and how Cass is gonna get all of this bread to play and all of this kind of stuff. And then it was like, but you gotta what was it? Like you had to get these pledges or whatever, to get. It was so much to get these teams off the ground or whatever. And so you had to, each player, they wanted to raise like, I don't know, maybe $1,000 or something. And then, and then that like help for expenses and all of that stuff. And, and again, something getting off the ground, and they had some sponsorship, but it was this and that. So it was going to be like this grassroots thing and all of this. And so anyway, I'm like, okay. So, I start like, man, and then they talking about how much you would get, if you were just a regular player. And then it's like when they was going to have the quote power team of players that went out and around for these more notable things. And you was going to get, more money for that. And so like, I'm like, all right. So eventually, I slowly kind of like, all right, and I go to a couple other meetings and, start hearing more people talk about it and whatever. And I'm like, I mean, okay, if this is a thing. And so, I'm like, all right. So I start going through the process and trying to, get this, and they had all the paperwork and this and that and all these official documents and whatever. And so, I'm going through all that, talk to, your sister or whatever about it. And plus it was such that like I wasn't gonna have to quit my job. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I could work and still do this thing or whatever. And so for me, that's what my mindset is. I'm like, man, that's gonna like double up what I'm making right now. And so
that was good, man. That was good wisdom. That was a good wisdom because a lot of people quit.
Oh, I know they did. I know. So it was gonna be a lot of so for me, it was going to be like every week I was going to be getting a check, one from my day job and then one from this. And so, but most of the guys I know quit.
Like, they quit
because they was starting to do it or whatever. And then we start having practices and
seeing real.
Like, dudes was, mind you, there was nobody had got paid nothing at this point.
No.
And Cass was quitting left and right. This is what he was gonna do. And so, you know, and then so ultimately, you know, I ended up talking to, you know, your cousin, you know, shout out to Elder Sean.
Sean.
You know,
Sean the Don. Yeah.
So, you know, we talk about it. And so, and, you know, again, him, I'm like, you know, we need somebody, whatever, you can be the coach or whatever. And again, he didn't quit his job either. You know what I'm saying?
Smart man.
You know, but he's like, okay. So then he ended up being our coach.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we all start doing the thing. And, you know, so I'm getting these pledges and, you know, whatnot. And I was like, you know, at this point, I'm like, okay, this is what it is. This thing is looking legit. It's feeling legit. You know what I'm saying? And so then I can't remember what happened, but at some point there was more discussion about this being off, like something similar to this they tried to do down south
in Atlanta. That's where he did it from. Yeah.
And then it was all of this stuff, right? And so you know, and so like, you know, I'm always trying to look into stuff, and it wasn't really matching up with what people were saying, and then but it was like more rumors and stuff swirling and all of this.
Yeah.
Like most people don't even know this. So what was supposed to happen was so like they were saying, like, you know, they was gonna want one person from each team to represent this power team. And then it was, well, maybe not necessarily one person, because then it was more and more teams, and it was folks coming up from all over the place, other states that was getting in and coming in and all of this stuff. And so I remember we was at a meeting or something, and you know, I ended up saying a few things, and they was there, and we ended up talking or whatever, and you know, he was, you know, saying how I was going to be on the power team or whatever. And, you know, I'm like, well, you know, okay, that's cool or whatever. But, you know, we was just kind of seeing where things was. So we're going through all of this. And so now it's all of this potential scandal right now and all of these rumors.
Yeah.
And so out of nowhere, I get a phone call, and it's Mike Hurd. And at this point, they had just like become the pastor of this church in Maslin. If you remember, while this thing is going on, out of nowhere, they supposedly bought this church. It was like right across the street from Whittier, the elementary school that I grew up at going to. They bought this church all of a sudden, and then he was going to be the pastor and all of this other stuff. And this is during all of this craziness. And so I remember, and so me and you know, Elder Sean had talked, and we like, you know, well, we just gonna, like, you know, we're gonna see what it is, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna see it through, because at the end of the day, you know,
we ain't losing our job.
Right, exactly. We still going to work every day anyway, so we was gonna see what it was. And so after he got this church, he randomly calls me, and you know, I answer the phone. I'm like, you know, what's what? And he wants me to come out there to this church in Maslin. He was like, he needed me to come see him. I'm like, all right. So I go out there, and we in the parking lot, and it's me, him, and the dude. I can't think of this guy's name. I'm gonna have to.
I don't remember his name either.
I'm gonna have to look it up when it's over with. Do a deep dive. I haven't done a deep dive on somebody.
Man,
I'm gonna have to look back, look and see where they at. But I go out there, and we talking and stuff. You know, I'm like, what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't know what's up. And ultimately I get out there, and he was just like, he just wanted to thank me, because, you know, it's a lot of stuff going on and all of this. And he wanted to thank me for my support, because I've been, you know, still, you know, whatever there, and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. And he's like, you know, we wanted to do something for you. And then the other dude, he just peeled off like $300-400 in cash and just handed it to me, and was like, yeah, I just want to get that to you. And, you know, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay. And so I never forget, after that, I called, you know, Elder Sean, like, look, man, it must be on point. This man just, gave me this
me
bread. You know
$400.
what I'm saying? He just broke me this bread off. And when I tell you, I feel like it wasn't even a week later, the bottom fell out of that whole thing.
I got my money though.
Right. Cause then before this happened, before the scandal, we had that big event at the center.
That's what I was waiting for you to speak on.
And it was supposed to be this 5-star glamorous, photo, red carpet, the whole 9.
Yes, cats was pulling up in limos and stuff, bro.
Yeah, it was gonna be nuts. It was gonna be nuts. And it was like if somebody tells you that they're gonna take you to the best 5-star restaurant in the history of the free world. All of the gourmet foods you could ever ask for. And you get there and it's like
old country buffet.
It's like Miss Andrews serving up some food.
Salute to Miss Andrews, first of all.
Right. Shout out to Miss Andrews. Miss Andrews is sitting in there in the apron with some food from Save a Lot. And she's passing that around to you. That's the level of difference of what it was supposed to be versus what it was.
Yes.
And so he still tried to have the whole red carpet was literally somebody's red little piece of carpet from their crib that was laid right in front of this little sign thing. It was supposedly supposed to be some special guests of some sort with all of this stuff. It wasn't. It was just him up front doing all of this talking. It's a room full of all of these folks with all of their Sunday best on, and everybody thinking it's about
Sunday best.
And he's just talking all of this talk and all of this, money people gonna get, and they supposedly got these new sponsors and all of this other stuff, and it was about to go down, and it was about to be serious, and and people in there crying and all. I
was just about to say that. Grown men in there crying, thinking they made it.
Opportunity, and they made it. You know what I'm saying? They finally made it. It was official. And and I swear, man, it wasn't even a week later that
boom,
they ain't at that church no more. Can't nobody get in touch with them.
You're the licking bitch.
They just completely disappeared. Off the face of the earth, basically.
Yep.
And it's funny because I used to change my phone number every 2 weeks. I was my number.
Yeah.
And I found out after the fact that Elder Sean had got subpoenaed to court, because then there was this lawsuit thing. And so he was one of them that got subpoenaed or something. And then he said that they was saying my name all tough in there, like Mike and them.
I remember all that.
Supposedly they was trying to I'm like, well, why ain't nobody subpoenaed me? He was like, because you change your phone number all the time and they couldn't get in touch. Nobody has your number to get in touch with you. I'm like, man, that's too funny. But yo, man, that whole thing. And so I said, for me, when it was over, it wasn't that big of a deal because, going back to, my whole basketball story.
Yeah.
During the time when I got into my sophomore year and then really my junior year, when I'm really putting this work in and stuff.
Yeah.
Things just kept, I had asthma real crazy, right? And so things just kept happening where I started doing my thing and then I would get sick and then I'd be down for 3 weeks, a month. And then I try to battle back from that. It was always something. It was always something. And then, so now going into my senior year, that's when, when I'm battling with Eric in the summer, Eric Snow and all these other guys, and we putting this work in, and every time Keith got interviewed before the season, talking about the season since he was the guy. Every time he got interviewed, he said my name. He's all in the paper, and he's like, yeah, y'all talking about these folks, but this is the guy. He's gonna make the difference. Because during that summer, if you remember, it was Marcus Marshall and that other light skinned cat from Glen Oak.
Oh yeah, you talking about
Chris?
Dang.
Not Chris Fields. It was a light skinned dude, and then Marcus Marshall, I think, was the dark skinned cat. They was the backcourt because they had been on the squad varsity since freshman. And the light skinned dude's dad they went to Trinity, and so that's how I met him.
Yeah,
they knew I could hoop, and they wanted me to transfer to Glen Oak, and so his dad was gonna pick me up every day.
Yeah,
take me to Glen Oak. Since I didn't live in the district, I was gonna be marked as living at their crib.
Right.
So my mom didn't care. She's like, well, as long as he getting, I was still gonna be at home. So I was transferred. I was gone. I was transferred to Glen Oak. Right. I was already talking to the folks at Glen Oak. Like it was about to be real. And Keith was like, nah, man, you can't. This is our senior year. You can't leave. You can't leave. You got to stay. I'm telling you. And so then that's when he started like constantly bringing me up and constantly talking. And so so that summer before our senior year, it's all these AAU tournaments and stuff now. Well, that stuff was getting going back then. But back then, everything we did was team tournaments. Yeah, so our team was playing these AAU teams. And so we was like traveling around playing guys. I remember guys like, it was this big dude, Dan Gadzurek. He played for the Milwaukee Bucks for some years. He's like, oh.
Yo, y'all gotta come see this. Oh, this looks crazy. So what is this called right here?
That's the fry bowl. It's like...
So it got fries, chicken,
exactly,
and the sausage on top.
Yep.
Yo, this is crazy. Yeah, if y'all ain't made it out here in the city yet, y'all gotta come here. Y'all gotta come check my mans out. We out here whipping it up. They out here getting it crazy.
Over 7 feet tall. Like, I mean, when these dudes was in high school, we playing against all of these cats, right?
Wow.
And so like we getting after it. And so like in the summer, like again, this is before my senior year, so it would be like this time before school started, we going to these tournaments. And it's, I mean, me, Keith, Snook, Rail, and then a few other guys, because like Kenny and them was playing football, so they was doing football stuff. Kenny, Les, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They was doing Doss, they was doing their football stuff, and because he was going into his junior year at that point, but he was gonna be on the squad with us too. So they all playing football, and so we out there just giving cats the business this whole summer. And, like I'm out there starting with the rest of them. And Keith kept telling me, he was like, I told you, man, this is about to be our year. I'm like, I told you shouldn't be going over there. So, like I stayed, we balling all summer. I'm getting letters and stuff from, all of these schools and stuff, coaches talking to me and stuff like, yeah, did you just transfer here? I'm like, nope, I've been here the whole time, but I'm finally getting some room. So, you know what I'm saying? So, and everybody like, all right, we're going to see what's up during the season, like we, excited and all of this stuff. So like that whole summer, like, man, it was love, man. We was getting after it.
Yeah.
It was on point. And then season roll around, and to start the season, like the first game was always against Timken. And so like I come off the bench, I'm like the sixth man, and like Keith was mad. And I'm like, man, no, it's cool. I'm like, I'll be the sixth man. It's whatever. I'm like, I'll be the spark. I'm like, I'm good with that. So, come off the bench, play a little bit, but it wasn't a lot. And I'm like, okay, whatever. We baptized Timken like we always did. And
shoot.
So, so I mean,
shoot.
the usual.
Right, yeah.
But then after that, like my minutes was just less and less and less. Wow. And then it got to the point where I just wasn't getting no run. And mind you, behind the scenes, like Keith is losing his crap about it. I mean, we had boosters and other like former players and folks, they was coming to our practices and watching practice, and they talking to the assistant coaches or they talking to Coach Hoover, why is he not playing? Because they recorded all of our practices.
Yeah,
every practice was recorded. Like, I'm just doing whatever I want to out there. I mean, like it just wasn't like it was in the summer. You know what I mean? Like, look, like what you saw when we met.
Yeah,
like, that's just what it was. Like, that's just what it was.
Wow.
And I just didn't get no run, like none.
That's crazy.
And then it got to the point where it gets to the tournament, and then he brings me in. He brings in Leonard Campbell, who was a freshman, who was on our team.
Yeah, salute to Leonard.
Maybe one other person. And he was like, all right, so we can only dress, because you could only dress so many guys for the tournament versus the season. You could have like 15, but in the tournament, it was like 12 that could dress or something like that. And so he comes to us, and then he's like, we wanted to see, because we can't have all of you guys dress. So we want to see which one of you, who wants to, whatever, be able to dress for the tournament stuff. And so since I was the senior, they're like, well, we'll start with you so you can pick. And so the games that I wanted to dress, I started with the state championship game and just worked my way back, which meant for the regional tournament, which was at the Civic Center, I wasn't going to be able to dress none of them games because whatever. So like that was a whole thing. And so like I'm just sitting there in street clothes on the bench, just like doing what I do, coaching up cats and all of that kind of stuff. But so like cats was mad. Like it got to the point, like even at one point during the season, Kenny Peterson, he was the starting center at this point. And before it was the shoot around before the game, and Coach Hoove is like, all right, going through who's going to be starting. And then Kenny is like, I don't want to start. I want Larry to start for me. And then Hoove is like, all right, well, Les, you're going to start then since Kenny doesn't want to start. Like, it was just like he
kept skipping. Dang.
Like, no matter what, like, I just wasn't getting this run. And so like I was heated, needless to say. And I'm just like, I should have went to Glen Oak. I should have went to Glen Oak. But at this point, you know what I'm saying? It's during the season. So we get through the year, and eventually the first game that I was able to dress in the tournament, I forgot what ended up happening, but I ended up having to get subbed in, immediately getting buckets, immediately making a difference. So then they have an article about me in the paper talking about the senior, and then they explain the process and all of this, and they're like, and now he can tell his grandkids that he's scored in this, but like, man, like Mike Saban.
Wow.
But then ultimately we lose in the semifinal game to the eventual state champs, which was St. Ignatius or St. Ed's. We lost to St. Edwards. And who they had cast that went, the one dude went to Cincy and played all 4 years. He was a guard. And then he went to the league for a minute, and then I mean, it was just guys, you know what I mean? Like
it was everywhere. It
was guys who played. But anyway, so then after the season is over with, and we were still having workouts and stuff in the spring, and it was just like open run at that point. So the coaches is kind of sitting around, and at this point, like I'm still mad. People, the boosters, everybody was all in Hoove and them's face, like, all during the year, how come he ain't playing? After the year going off, I mean, some people were saying he needed to be fired because I wasn't playing, and we ended up losing. And so then after the season is over with, they was having these open runs or whatever, and I'll never forget, me and G. Bush, who at the time was a sophomore, my senior year, he was on JV that year. Me and him played 2-on-2 against every combination of the other varsity and JV players right in front of the coaches at the field house, and we destroyed everybody.
What?
And when it was over with, we just laughed and just left. And then at our end of the year meetings, Hoove calls me in the office, and he proceeds to tell me that I was hands down the best all around player he's ever coached. I'm just
no
like,
tick though. No tick.
right.
That's crazy.
So then anyway, after that's over with, over that summer, I went to some places to some colleges I knew of that was having some open runs. Like I went to West Virginia University. I knew somebody that had something going on down there. So Uncle Ron and them took me down there. I went down there and played with them and some other spots, and started getting some interest again. It was a spot in California that offered. It was it wasn't UCLA. It was another D1 school in California. They offered me something. When I went to West Virginia, though, that was crazy because when I went, I had sliced my finger. Which one is it? On my right hand.
Yeah.
Washing dishes, and the freaking glass broke when I was and cut it. So anyway, I go down there. I still end up playing. I get down there, and the team was out there, and they're like, all right, yeah, you can go ahead and, get out there. They just got here a little early. You guys are a little late, but you can go ahead. So I get out there and play with these guys. And, they're like, yeah, these are the recruits or whatever that are coming in. Some of them had scholarships already. Others are trying to see about getting one. So I go out there, you know what I'm saying? And I just destroy these dudes. Like, I mean, like there's just no other way to put it. Like I'm out there giving at the business, something serious. So it's over. And at first I wasn't. And at first I'm just passing or whatever. And they like, all right, look, man, like, just go ahead and play. Like, I'm like, all right, fine. So I get after it. You know what I'm saying? It's over with. I go over by Uncle Ryan. It's like, yeah, you did an awesome job. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Taking my stuff off. The coach walks over, assistant coach. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm done. It's over with. And he was like, oh no, that wasn't that wasn't the official run. The run with the recruits is coming up next. I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, you just played against our team from this past year. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So now the guys that are coming out on the court now, these are the actual guys that are, looking to come in. And so then by that point, I was just like playing around out there with them. Like it was just whatever.
Because you already beat the main team.
Yeah, I didn't even know that's who it was. I thought that was, these recruits. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
I wasn't following West Virginia University basketball.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Mountaineers, like, nobody looking at that.
Not at all.
So anyway, I gotta, they wanted me to come down there, and so like I had some options, and then my mom had surgery on her back.
Oh man!
And because my sister fell, broke her leg, and my mom bent down and picked her up, messed her back up. She had surgery on her back, and then when she had the surgery, she almost died having the surgery. Her lungs was filling up with fluid, and they didn't know it, and she was in intensive care for forever. And at that point, that's when basketball just became a game. And all his life, it wasn't life no more. That's when it just became a game. And at that point, I didn't go like I said, and so West Virginia kept calling, the spot in California kept calling. There was a couple other more local spots in Ohio, a couple MAC schools, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I was done at that point because like she had almost died, and my sisters were out the house, and it was just me, and so I just like I was done at that point. So I went to Malone, and then I started to play, and like I was on the team, but. And I'm just like, man, it's just whatever. Like I was just, and so yeah, man. And so that was the whole thing. So like I said, so from a hoop standpoint, like yeah. So then playing outside of regulation basketball, like I mean, there were some games in real games like in Minerva or other places when I was playing these different leagues and stuff, like I actually did it a few times since I started playing again. I was shooting and I just wasn't hitting, which is just, I was explaining to William, I'm like, it's a thing. Like when you get to a point, I'm like, it's literally like it is with Steph now, where every time he shoots, you expect it to go in. No matter where he shoots from, you just expect it's gonna go in. And so that's how it's been. And so like it was a couple months ago now, but like I wasn't hit with my right hand, so I just started playing left hand the rest of the game. They're like, are you left-handed? I'm like, no, but I'm not hitting with my right hand. And I went through a phase of doing everything left-handed so that I could have my left do everything my right could do. And so like, putting in the work, but all of that led to the reality of, it's just a game. And as much as it was life for me, it's like it's a game, man. Like there's real life out there. That's not putting the ball in the basket. You know what I'm saying? And so that just changed the dynamic of everything. It was a while for me to, get to that point of realizing it was a game. But once I did, coming full circle, when that whole thing with Mike Hurd and them fell apart, I was cool. You know what I'm saying?
It didn't matter. I was already.
But by that point, it didn't even really matter. It was just like, oh, cool, I get to hoop again and get paid for it. Like I'm down, but I'm still I was working at McKinley at the time. I'm like, well, I'm still working, so so man. Wow. It was crazy. It was crazy how that whole thing went down.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna spin it. I don't know who started it. I really don't know who started it, but where did Broken Vessel come from?
Broken Vessel
started that.
So technically, y'all started it,
and we added you
with Patrick, and it was like 10 people. Remember, from different churches. It was
Marlon and all them.
No, it was like
10 people.
Mandu's church, Patrick's church, and like y'all.
Yeah.
And it was I can't even remember who all of these folks was, but it was just
I remember now you say that because we had a meeting in the basement at the church.
Yeah, it was several people, and like we had already went through our phase of whatever it was that you just said earlier. I don't even remember what the name of it was.
That was that down bad. Yeah, that was down bad.
We already down bad at one point, and I guess some of us got saved or something. But anyway, so then we all ended up. What did we call ourselves? It was something crazy. Like, I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of us, and then it was like we was all different churches, and then ultimately it was like we had to figure out who was going lead the crew or whatever, and then all of y'all voted for me to be the person, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm not the music guy or nothing.
Which is crazy.
Right. I'm like, all right, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
And ultimately talking with Elder Sean and stuff just about all of this stuff, and it just wasn't adding up. You know what I'm saying? Different people got church at different times, and they wanted folks to be there, but we couldn't because we could. And then it's like was just talking like, man, it ain't working. Like for us to all try to be one big thing, but
big no limit soldiers.
Right, exactly. So we had to figure out, how we were gonna break it up, and it was just like ultimately we was gonna have to do our thing separate. And so we had a meeting, and then I, let everybody know. And then then at that point we had our separate thing, and then we I don't know when we became Broken Vessel.
I don't either.
Somehow it just turned into like, okay, well now we separate. Now we got to just do our own thing, and then it was just a matter of coming up with whatever that was going to be. But I don't
now was Broken Vessel. Did it branch off big? Because Vessel. Remember there was Vessels of Honor at the church at the time. Did we get that swing off of them? No, that's kind of crazy. Yeah,
no, because they No, because at the time they didn't even have a name.
Yeah, they did.
And they were just doing the flaggers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, we ended up officially, having our thing. And I just remember that specifically because Janelle ended up being the person that was over it.
Yeah.
And by that point, we was already Broken
Oh,
Vessel.
established. Yeah, we was already that. Yeah.
Because remember, at first it was the one lady from out of town.
Oh, I remember her.
So what's her name?
I forget what her name is, but I know you talking about.
Light skinned-ish lady.
Light and tall.
Yeah. She
I know
was
what you talking about.
She was like over it when there was no name to it, and then ultimately Lena J ended up sliding in that role, and then she started, taking it over, and they still didn't have the name at first. And they eventually did the Vessels of Honor.
Yeah.
Then didn't they end up with a step team or something?
A youth step team.
Yeah, it was something. But anyway, so now
a lot.
So we had our thing, and then they kind of did the Vessel thing too.
That was wild, man. Broken Vessel, bro. We had a couple joints. We had a lot.
Yeah.
We had a lot of joints.
We had the one album. The tape was somewhere still. Remember, we recorded it before we did that thing at Malone.
And we did it at the church.
Yeah, and we recorded everything, and I mailed a copy to myself.
Yeah, for the copyright.
That's how, if you don't copyright it, you can prove you did something. And so I got it signed, sealed, and delivered. Allegedly, it's around somewhere. I have to try and find a cassette player. But
that is wild, man.
Yeah, man, we had probably 10 or 12 cuts at least.
Bangers too, though.
All of them, every single one.
Bangers.
Every single one, man.
Bangers. I think that I like to bounce on tracks. That wasn't a Broken Vessel. That was just a me.
No, that wasn't. That was a joint that. Yeah, that was a joint that you had. Like way after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, every joint that we did, man, people was like,
it was like, bro, that's tough, bro.
Yeah, it was real, man.
It was tough.
Come all over the place. Then we did that little concert down in somewhere. We did, remember? We did that.
Is that
we did that concert. It was some hour. It was south of Canton. Some out like
a newcomer's town or a Cambridge or something like
that. Maybe I don't know. It was at this church because it was like.
Oh, was that the all white church? No, we did praise and worship there.
Well,
the Hitlers? That's not what they call.
Well, it was. Remember, it was like it was this big youth thing, and then it was they had like 3 musical acts, and we were the headline. And we were the third one. And it was.
It's called the Heartfelt, not the Hitlers. My bad, y'all. I'm bugging. The Heartfelt, not the Hitlers. That's crazy.
Yeah. But and we did that concert down there. That was like the biggest and last thing that we did.
That was classic.
Yeah. And people was always still wanting something, but then it just
that was classic.
Yeah, it just wasn't going down. But yeah, that thing was
classic. Now I'm before we get to all the other stuff, I'm gonna talk about me, you, and Robert. Me, you, and Robert. Now, mind you, I think if I'm not mistaken, this was around Broken Vessel time. So we all in the church, we tapped in. Robert playing the sax. You playing the keys, I'm playing the keys or the drums.
Right.
I think Monique was playing the flute at the time. Somebody playing clarinet, all that stuff. Apostle turned us into a dang on an orchestra. We got Desiree playing the violin, all of this.
Yo, real quick, I hate to pause the show, but I want to let you know it's a new podcast out there, the MNT podcast. Monte and my bro Tone. Y'all make sure y'all go follow that. The Monte and Tone podcast, MNT. So the letter M, the what is that? The N sign and the T podcast. Make sure you share, like, comment, subscribe. We talking about everything, relationships, business ideas, what goes on in the Uber world, because we both Uber drivers. What goes on in relationships, what goes on in all these things. We got a lot of knowledge for you. Y'all make sure y'all check that out. Get with us. We're gonna be doing interviews. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. You might pop up on you, and we're gonna have some merch ready to go as well. So make sure y'all share, like, comment, and most of all, subscribe to the M&T podcast, Monte and Tone's podcast, man. Back to the show.
All of this stuff. But the reason why I'm saying all that, this what I'm finna say ain't got nothing to do with that. All I'm saying, when we was in the church, we was in the church. But do you remember when me, you, and Robert
was throwing water balloons at people?
Filled up them water balloons. We went on the highway and was throwing them at the semi trucks on the opposite side.
Listen, Linda.
You're throwing trash, bro.
When I tell you, I've tried in recent years. I've tried to explain to people.
Oh my God!
Recently, I'm like, the funnest thing I have ever done in my life.
That's it, man.
Was filling up these water balloons.
That's it, man.
And while we were driving,
throwing them against the people,
watching these joints like a jumper over the roof, smacking people's windshields, throwing them, getting it and throwing it in their windows. That was the funnest thing that has ever happened.
Bro.
And I was trying to explain it to somebody not too long ago, and they're just like, I don't get it. And I'm like, you know what?
You don't get it. You don't get it.
Magic,
bro.
That thing was, man. I mean, I'll never forget the one time, because the semi thing, he got me back because we was going around one night, doing our thing, throwing them, and I had one left, and I was just waiting. When was I going to use it? Then we pulled up over by where, this little gang was hanging out or whatever, and they outside. And I forgot what I said, and I launched that joint and blasted these dudes. And then they start cussing and running towards the whip. Robert peel out. I'm crying. Me and you cracking up just like this. He cracking up. Robert mad. What are you doing? Hitting switches, we got that stick. Why did you do that? But and they come, they chasing us. We hitting through these alleys and all of this stuff. And then we was at his sister Janelle's crib. He had opened the garage up, and then he had
to hide the car.
Yup, and put in and hit the button, and then it was closing right as they sped by. It was magical.
He had to hide the car. He was whipping that Honda so crazy.
Yeah.
He was whipping that Honda so crazy, bro.
And then
I'm like, yo, he about to go to jail.
I know. Then fast forward a couple days later, and we driving back over there. This time we in the mystery machine, and I'm driving.
Yeah.
Got a water balloon, and he throws it right into the window of a semi truck,
and right on the highway.
Flashes on the highway.
Oh my God!
On the highway.
We going the opposite way. There is no way the semi was gonna catch us.
I'm like,
bro,
they got radios. They can radio the people.
Bro, it was.
I'm ticked off, and I take off.
That was so crazy. That was so.
He's
crazy.
Like, now you know how I feel. I'm like, no, this on the highway, cuz.
Oh my gosh.
Like you took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, man.
The last time we did it. But that
gosh.
I don't even know how we started that or why
I
that
don't either.
came up. But that was one of the greatest things that ever happened.
Just stay with a book bag full of water balloons.
Yes.
Just stay with it.
Yes.
Y'all just come get me. Like, yo, hey, we about to fill the water balloon. We in the kitchen talking. I'm in the kitchen. Whatever. Mom know what's up. It is what it is. I'm out. We about to bounce. Book bag full of water balloon.
That was amazing. I don't know how or why. And then remember, so then when he had his wedding the night before, instead of him doing nothing crazy, his boys or whoever came in that was going to be in the wedding, we like, look, this is how we get down.
Yeah, bro.
All of these balloons.
That's
and
it, bro.
Driving everywhere, throwing them like
lighting them up, bro.
And your boy Steve Beatty. Shout out
Steve
to
Beatty, the chef.
This earth. This Negro.
Oh my God.
He throws the balloon. He get a direct hit. We like, oh, that's what's up. We all in different whips. We're
He
right
stopped.
over by
Yeah.
Giant Eagle / Canton Center kind of was.
Yeah, by the Ron John Silver. Yeah.
And then it was this older lady's car, and then she's like, "Hey, stop! Hey,
He
pull
stopped.
over, pull
He
over!"
stopped. He pulls over.
And so we bounce, thinking we gone. Steve pulls over. He actually pulls over in this parking lot. And so we're all eventually like a half hour passed. We all back at the spot. He's nowhere to be found.
Bro.
And we're like, did this dude get arrested?
Yes,
was that an undercover cop? Like,
he
what
thought it was
happened?
over.
And then eventually, we about to like go back and see what's up. And then eventually he show up looking like somebody just shot his dog.
Oh,
and we're like, dude, what happened? And he's just like, well, I mean, I threw it. And yeah, we know all of that. And then I pulled over. I'm like, why did you pull over?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh
and like, why did you listen? And she basically just scolded him for like 20 minutes on how dangerous that was, and how someone could get hurt. And he really
was it. That was it. Like, bro,
but this dude actually pulled over because she got mad and told him to.
We wasn't stopping for nobody, bro.
Gave him a tongue lashing, but we peeled out so quick.
Oh,
like,
we was gone. We was gone.
Ain't no stop. Yeah, right.
Oh my
ain't nobody
God.
stopping. But that was amazing. That
time was crazy.
That was a blessing, man.
That time was crazy.
That was a blessing and a half. People were sleeping on that.
They would never understand that.
No,
bro.
they just. I mean, I swear, I'm like, and I swear, when I was selling somebody, they just looking at me, and I'm like, you don't
get that, bro.
All right, you just looking like, come on, man. This is man. Right here.
Yeah, this is gold. These are nuggets I'm getting.
Right.
You, and you're not catching it.
Exactly. I'm like, man, they don't get it. They don't get it. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. That time was amazing.
Oh my gosh, bro. That was classic work right there.
It was
classic work. Yeah, we about
man.
Rapid fire. We about to rapid fire these joints right here. And then after that, we're gonna be done. But yo, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Woo, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Those days, man. Them days. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. You can't.
Yeah, that was real life, right?
It was hilarious. That was beautiful. Okay, your top 5 movies. Go ahead.
Man, top 5 movies.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Gotta have Friday in there. These are no particular order.
No order. Yeah.
Right. Gotta have Friday in there.
Yep.
Gotta have the Born Identity in there.
Oh yeah, of course. All that.
What else? Gotta have shout out to Napoleon Dynamite. Gotta get that.
Wow, yes.
Gotta get Napoleon in there.
Yeah.
Two more. It was just one movie. What is it called? I'm like, it's around somewhere. This guy's family like got killed or something, and he was accused of doing it, and he was in jail, but he actually didn't do it. This white dude. Oh my gosh. And then he basically gets everybody back.
Hold on, Jamie Foxx is in that movie.
No. This is an older kind of citizen, law-abiding citizen.
Jamie Foxx is in that.
Is he? He might be. I don't
dude ended up breaking out the jail.
Yeah. Okay.
Jamie Foxx caught him when he dug in the hole. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
That movie is dope. That movie is dope. I love that movie.
He is, law-abiding citizen.
That movie is dope. That movie is dope.
Citizen.
Yep.
And then let's see. We'll round it out with let's see. I'm trying to think what's a good one that Man, we'll go Blue Streak. We'll go Blue Streak.
Wow, Blue Streak. That
We'll go Blue Streak.
That movie's a classic.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
a
trying to
classic.
think of movies that I'll purposely put on to watch.
Yep.
And those are definitely fine. That Law Abiding Citizen goes on, man.
I watch that often.
That on the low, that one is on point. And like I said, in that Born Identity, the first one, look, man,
different.
That one right there, yeah, that was next level, man.
Yeah. Top 5 TV shows.
Top 5 TV shows. All right.
Yep.
We got the Golden Girls.
Of course. Classic.
We got The Office. We got it's this show. I don't know if you've seen it. I got every episode. I'm gonna have to send it to you. It's called The IT Crowd.
No, I haven't seen it.
Show. It's from like Britain or somewhere.
Oh,
this is one of the funniest freaking shows that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I gotta see it.
I have to get you hyped to this, get you hip to that joint. So yeah, Golden Girls, The Office, IT Crowd.
Yeah.
Gotta go with Martin.
Of course.
And then I mean, number 5, man, we'll probably the 5th one, we'll say man, so many options. You know what? Shout out to Bill Cosby. I'm gonna go Cosby.
Cosby Show. Cosby Show. First
we started watching them episodes again.
I'm telling you, man. You talking about funny?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like crazy funny. So
man,
shout out to Bill Cosby.
Denise made that Gordon Gartrell, bro. That's one of my favorite episodes. The Gordon Gartrell. I'm like, what? The Gordon Gartrell. And then when Vanessa was going to see the Ratchet. When Vanessa left to go see the Ratchet and didn't tell her mom and dad, she tried to lie about where she was going. Yo, that was crazy.
One of my favorite episodes happened to be the very first episode, and I didn't know it till we started rewatching it again. Is when Theo is on some BS with his studies and whatnot, and then he ain't really doing what he's supposed to do in school, and then his dad talks to him in the room, and he started going on about how, you know, he gonna do this and work at a gas station and this and that and blah blah blah.
And he was taking the money from him. He was like, "This how much it costs?"
Yeah, taking the money, and then ultimately he don't end up with no money left, and then he goes into his whole little speech on, love me for who I am, and that
not just because I'm your son,
not because blah blah blah. You know, the crowd claps and all of that, and he's just sitting there, and he's like, "Boy, that's the dumbest thing I ever." Man, listen,
I busted that whole bubble.
That's the very first episode, my
dude. That is. Yes. Came out the gate. Like, came out hot.
He's
came out hot.
Like, since when you get D's and everything, I don't want to hear that. Like,
hey, yo.
I'm like, yo. So yeah, definitely. Shout out.
That's a dope episode for sure. All right, cool. We about to switch the sports real quick. Bronny James plays for the Lakers right now.
Yes, sir.
Bronny's stats. What are we talking about? I think the first game he scored 4. The world was like, oh yeah, he's averaging what he did in college. And then the last game he scored 3, but he had 5 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 2 steals or something. Went crazy. How you feel about Bronny in the league compared to what everybody else talking about?
So look, man. Like I've been following Bronny's joint since he was in the 8th grade. Okay. And it's 2 things that he does at an elite level, and it's 1 thing that he does at a very good level. From an elite level, his feel for the game and his IQ that he has, like you can't really teach that. Like normally guys need years of film study to have that level of processing of what's happening and seeing what's happening and making the right pass and that type of thing. That's an elite skill set he has. The other thing is his defensive intensity and his just defense overall. His again knowing where to be, his lateral movement, all of that. He's elite at those two things.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's very good at is shooting the ball. Like I'm talking about NBA range, whatever. Like, I mean, you know, when he did his little combine thing, he at one point hit 12
12 straight.
or whatever the case is. And so, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I'm foreseeing a very long career for this kid. I mean, I like what I've seen from him continue to get better year in and year out. And I mean, crazy explosive athlete too. Just quietly, because you don't just see him dunking on people all like that.
Yeah.
But then if you want to look it up on YouTube, you can see him dunking on people in game situations.
Yeah.
So, you know, but like I said, I mean, so I really like, I mean, of course, the whole thing playing with his pops and all of that. I mean, that's obviously, you know, real nice or whatever. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, he's going to be real good for a real long time because he works too. You know, that's the thing. He works hard. You know, what I mean? Like he never, you could tell he didn't take it for granted. Like, oh, well, my dad is who my dad is. And so I just can ride his coattail. Now, I will say that absolutely played into him being able to get drafted by the Lakers. And
That's
shout out to Team James that was able to happen. Because guess what?
Father of the decade.
Guess what? If I was the GM of any freaking team, then all these dudes we was talking about that used to hoop,
they
would have had 10-day contracts at least. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm going to look out. I mean, when I ran this summer program back, man, I don't even want to say the name, but back when Darius, you know what I'm saying? It was Darius, Tiana, you know, all of them.
Wow.
Other folks. And I ran this summer program and I had to hire high school students to work for me through this program. And then I went to places in the community and found work for us to do. So basically they got free labor, but the students got paid from our program, but they got the experience working at these places. And so I had to hire like, I think I had a crew of, I had like 10 people, but like 5 of them worked with me directly, and the other ones, once I got them set up, they just reported to that job, and I had to get them paid and all that. But in any event, Darius, thanks, said his name again. I ain't said his name in a minute since.
That's bro.
But Darius and Tiana, they were the two of the spots that needed to be filled, basically. And so when I had a meeting with their mom, shout out to Aunt Linda, like I told her going into the interview, she's like, well, okay, so I know you do. I went over to their house to do it. She's like, and me and her were just talking. She's like, okay, so you're gonna do this, and what's the process, and like, how will they know when they get hired? I'm like,
ain't no process.
Oh, they're hired. Like, I'm not gonna tell them that. I'm like, but like, they got the job. Like, I'm telling you that right now as mom, so you know, like,
exactly.
They got the job, and they're gonna be on the crew working with me specifically. And I'm not gonna. Matter of fact, I'm sure I'll be harder on them than I am the other folks. But please believe they got the job. But I'm about to do this interview like a real interview. I'm gonna put them through their paces, and you know, whatever. So like, absolutely. So if I'm LeBron or whoever, and I got the ability to sway things to go that way. I don't know if you know this, but Rich Paul, he was calling all of the teams when the second round started.
Heard about it.
Yeah. Like,
he playing overseas.
Yeah, he's going overseas. If you draft him, go ahead.
Don't touch him.
Go ahead and draft him.
That's some power right there.
He's never going. Now, granted, they still could have drafted him, and then it would have been the whole thing, but it's not worth it at that point.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I mean, but yeah, Bronny, he's gonna be good, man. He's gonna be a good one.
Okay. Let me the USA team. Kawhi stepped out. They filled it in with was it Derek White?
Derek White
over Jaylen Brown.
over anybody. Look,
Was
man,
there? What is that?
like I don't have a so this is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody say.
Mm-hmm.
I blame Jason Tatum. And I say that because, there's always been rumblings that they kind of butt heads a little bit. I kind of was upset with 2K because, Jason Tatum is a cover athlete for 2K25. And which,
I didn't know that.
Tatum is nice. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't Jalen, though.
He's nice, but it's like, everybody seems to forget who the MVP was.
Facts.
Who's been the guy that has consistently year in and year out, offensively and defensively, been that guy for them
for a long time.
And so the fact that he wasn't even in the conversation, but then you get one of his teammates that
smack in the face
is like decent, you know what I'm saying, for what he does.
Yeah, he wasn't even sixth man.
But it's like this. I don't think Halliburton should be on the team.
Yeah,
he was an all-star.
That's true.
Derek White, man, if you don't go sit on the couch somewhere,
bro,
it's not your time, man. It's not your time. So again, it could have nothing to do with Tatum, but I just feel like because everything is still so about him when it comes to Boston, it's like they want it to be about him so bad. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like for Kawhi, I seen this article and they're like, I don't understand why Kawhi steps down and then you got basically Kawhi 2.0 in in the MVP of the finals and Jaylen Brown, and like he just wasn't even in the conversation.
Not at all.
And again, I'm fine if it's not him, but it got to be at least somebody of that caliber. It's like I talked to William about this, how disgusted I am with how everybody is just a Hall of Famer now from the NBA. And I'm like, there should be a minimum criteria, even the All-Star game this past year. I'm like, these MCs it should be a criteria that you have to reach before you even get to be in the conversation. And like Halliburton, he's like, he had a good year this year. I'm like, yeah, he did. I'm like, I need that at least the next 3 years in a row. Then we can have a conversation. Because the thing is, when you talk about greatness, you can't even greatness and longevity go hand in hand. You can have a crazy good year. Ask Michael Carter Williams. The best game he had in his life was his first game as a rookie for the 76ers. And he went crazy. Double on the Heat. You know what I'm saying?
He went crazy.
That's the best game he ever played in his life. It was his first game, and then it just went downhill from there.
He's not him.
Okay, you have a good year. Great. I'm happy for you. I need to see that at least a few more years in a row before you get to even like for the dream for the Olympic team. I need at least 4. Like all-star. It got to be some criteria. You either been a champion that contributed not just on the bench, or all-star for at least 4 years. Like we need to set the bar. And then when you talk about a Hall of Famer, I used to just say, can you tell the story of basketball without mentioning this person's name? Like, you can't talk about basketball ever without saying LeBron. Okay, well then obviously
Halliburton, we could definitely do it without saying Halliburton.
That's what I'm saying. And there's so many guys that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's like, okay, you was decent, like you was pretty good for a few years, okay, and like that's just not enough. So man, but Derek White shouldn't be allowed to. I don't even know why and how his name came up. I swear,
I don't either.
I just feel like it's like y'all had the audacity. All right, Jrue Holiday. I'm always been big on him. Like I love what he brings to the table. I'm glad he's on the squad.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, okay, whatever. But then you had a nerve to pick somebody else from that squad, and it's not arguably best player. That's like, come
on that team. That's
like,
crazy.
come on, that's just disrespectful, man.
Very,
so,
very.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of that at all. I'm not.
Very. I'm surprised my boy Kyrie ain't get a call.
Oh, listen, man. We always down for Team Kyrie, man. He's
period. I'm like, bro, come on, man. He was going what he did to Ant-Man in the playoffs, bro. Come on, bro.
Bro,
like,
I
you
know.
don't call that.
I know.
Even, I mean, okay. Before I go to the next basketball thing, do you think Cat should have been on the team? He's streaky. Yeah, he's streaky.
Yeah. I didn't want him to be an all-star. I didn't want him to. It's just that
he's streaky.
I just need more. Like,
you
can't be 7 feet tall and just want to shoot threes all day.
That's all he want to do.
I can't. I don't respect you for that, man. Like,
that's all.
You gotta give me more. I mean, the fact that they brought in Rudy Gobert years ago after they had already had Cat to be
it's crazy
guy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You just want to shoot threes with your mohawk.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing? So, yeah. So, no, I don't think he should have been on there. But, I mean, and speaking of the T-Wolves, I mean, look, I told William, I don't even call them hot takes, man. Like I told you, you know what I'm saying? Like I called that Paul George thing back in October.
Yeah,
like,
true.
You mean the Philadelphia 76ers, Paul George? Whatever, Dad. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
well,
it happened.
Here's another thing. I told him this. The success the T-Wolves had this year, that's the farthest they're going to go for the next probably 4 years. I'm calling.
Wow.
I don't see them go. I feel like they caught lightning in the bottle. And
wow.
Yo,
this is wild.
I'm confident.
I ain't never heard nobody say. I really haven't spoke on it, but I'm like, yo, I ain't heard nobody say that because they were so crazy. But I mean, I get you because the way that the Mavericks did them was crazy.
Right. They caught lightning
with no big.
And that's what I was just about to say. Look at the team that they lost to. I mean, you got 2 8-foot-tall dudes on your team. One of them focuses on D. The other one likes to shoot from 3 or whatever. You got, Anthony Edwards, shout out to him, okay, whatever. But, like, and then something else that I told William, the one like Kyle Anderson. They lost to the Warriors this year.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's just another quality piece that they gonna miss, that they don't realize they're gonna miss. And Mike Conley is getting older out there, and Edwards, I mean, offensively he can get you some buckets, but so could Iverson.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many titles did he get? And
so good Carmelo.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Guys can get buckets. Like, okay, great. That's wonderful. I'm glad you can get buckets, but like, that's not enough. And the fact that they lost to a team that doesn't even match up with them on paper at all.
It should have been a blowout. They should have been the other way.
Exactly.
Big should have went crazy.
Exactly. And so, I mean, yeah, man,
Kyrie averaged 30 on them boys. Like, get this out of here.
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie is as amazing as he is. They had.
Two to the dome, you know I came to kill. And all the DJs and beat makers know the drill. Your boy back, they all run like sawmill. This beat was just sent to me, this was a fresh kill. But you ain't know when I load up, I act wild. Like draw 4, my screen kicks like a bad child. It's time to relocate, but not the east bow. Call me a virus, we moving to the west now. I've been bugging more ammo than any Russian. My 16s I air out like a semi-bussin'. My chick bad, I sing to her like David Ruffin. Give her the game, she roll up, we lit and puffin'. Thought I was done, but this rapping is in my bloodline. Heat feeding me beats, I zip them up like A-Shine. The swag so out of this world, never in state lines. Used to be passing with everything, now I take mine. Pittsburgh, my name Monte, some of you notice me. I get you lit and I'm brown, nickname me Hennessy. I came in the game, they ain't do nothing but doubt. But now I feel like a tongue to wear my name in your mouth.